All right, we are live. Welcome back, everyone. Happy Sunday. Welcome to another live stream. It's September already. I hope you guys had a good month of August. So I was away for the last couple of weeks. As you know, I was on holiday and I'm back now. So I'm ready to resume trading and to have a great end of the year. It's time to stay focused. We have basically 3 months and a half left before the end of the year, so it's time to focus again and to have a great end of the year. It's going to be quite busy, so as traders, I think there's going to be plenty of opportunities starting already in 10 days time. We're going to have FOMC and we're going to have most likely the beginning of the new phase with the rate cuts from the Fed. We are going to have also the continuation of the rate cuts from the other central bankers. One of them actually is going to be now this week with the ECB. It's just question mark of how much is going to be the rate cut. Something to pay attention to. On Thursday, we also have elections in the US, as you know, in November. So in 2 months from now, we're going to have elections. It's going to be, again, a lot of volatility going on to see who's going to win and become the next US president, and all the situations in the world that's going on as well, in Japan as well, with the yen pairs, also to pay attention. I don't think that's over yet. I think actually that's going to be the resume again to the downside on Nikkei, for example, the strength on the yen and also the US indices. If we are going to have now the top and we're going to start a new bearish trend, or our price is going to range for a while until we may have new all-time highs. It's going to be quite interesting. In terms of the main catalysts at this point, in my opinion, the most important one is the labor market in the US in particular, and we had just that last Friday with NFP, which came out lower than expected. But even one more concern, it was actually the previous month, which was already lower. It was even revised even lower. So instead of 114 new jobs, it was actually 84 or something like that. So that was even lower than the initial projection. And this month also it was quite negative. The rate stays the same at 4.2%, but that's a concern in here. What that it means is that, and the bigger question mark for September's Fed meeting is how big or small is going to be the rate cut. Like, are you looking for 25 basis points or 50 basis points? And at this point, the market is pricing in only at 25 basis points. As you can see in here, a lot has changed since 1 month ago. So basically 1 month ago, on the 5th of May, that's when you had the big sell-off. That Monday, the sell-off on the Nikkei, on the yen pairs, and everything else, on the indices as well. And all of a sudden, the market started to price in almost 75 basis points to 50 basis points. Meanwhile, market has adjusted. We saw the recovery as well on the indices, which now maybe resuming the move to the downside, but we saw a little bit of recovery in the market, and all of a sudden we saw also the market adapting or adjusting their own projections to the next rate cut. And at this point, as you can see, 70% the odds for only at 25 basis points, which in theory kind of makes sense. And now it's basically guaranteed that we're going to have this rate cut. Now the question mark is how quick is going to be the path towards this new phase of rate cuts. So we'll see. Even if we're going to have now consecutive rate cuts, or it's going to be kind of 1, 2 and then a pause, or again, how big it's going to be. And yes, the labor market, that's one of the big questions, one of the big concerns from the Fed at this point. I think the CPI is not really a concern right now. We are going to have CPI this week, but the CPI I think has changed a little bit in terms of importance from what the market is paying attention to. We're expecting a 2.6% and the normal CPI for this upcoming data, while at this point is at 2.9% in here. So we'll see what's going to exactly happen in here. But again, in my opinion, CPI has lost a little bit of its importance especially since we had that big sell-off and the market completely adjusted to see rate cuts. So the Fed doesn't really need to see more confidence in terms of CPI. The only concern now is how good or bad or quickly we are going to have the labor market increasing, because we are expecting the labor market to the unemployment to increase. So how quick? That's the question in here. So just looking at the news quickly, we're going to have quite a busy week. Even in the UK as well, we have unemployment and then GDP. We have CPI in the US, as you mentioned, core PPE as well. And then you have also on Thursday and then ECB press conference, right? So that's going to be the first one now after summer to announce their interest rate. And the market's expecting a cut to 3.65. That's an odd cut. It's not even 50. It's not a 50 basis points. It's actually kind of a 60 basis points, kind of odd. So we'll see if that's going to happen, or it's going to be only another 25 basis points, because the first rate cut, it was 25 basis points. It was also two meetings ago. So that's going to be an important one. So again, focusing on the euro, on the euro pairs as well. That's going to be something to pay attention to. So let's take a look at the markets and what to expect. Like, so again, they've been away for 2 weeks basically, and what we're having here is the dollar making that move to downside as we were anticipating, right? So we're looking for the dollar to start targeting a little bit this low in there. So I've been bearish for quite a while on the dollar, and we are approaching now this level. Now, where price reacted, so basically fake out this low, all right? That was already at the end of August. We fake out the low and we start moving to the upside in here. Now the question mark is the dollar going to resume the move to downside and eventually challenge this low, or is it starting to be ready to start moving to the upside? And that's kind of the question mark in here on the dollar at this point. Are you going to start looking to a bullish dollar, or are you going to resume a little bit more of a move to the downside before looking to downside? Yeah, I would love to hear your ideas as well, guys. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you look at any pair specifically that you want me to analyze, feel free to ask as well in the comments in here. Now we have the NFP, right? So the NFP last Friday, it created this big spike and it reacted from the origin of this move to the at this demand zone in here, at the origin, at these lows in here. So it was a beautiful level where actually the dollar index reacted from. If we look at the euro dollar, the high that was created during the NFP, it didn't really move towards or all the way through the extreme. It just paused a little bit more in the middle, something that you're going to pay attention to in a bit on the euro dollar. So in here on the dollar index, personally, when I look at the higher time frame, I still like the idea of price faking out these lows. All right, I don't really think that these lows may have reached the final destination in here. I understand that it took the liquidity between this low, and that sometimes can be enough, but I do think there's maybe a little bit more room to the downside, which means that we may still have the fake out of these lows before a potential move to the upside. And if that's the idea of the dollar moving to the upside, I think we can still play around and fake out these lows. Now, this level where the NFP reacted from was perfect, okay? So that's perfect. It literally came all the way to respect its origin. There's no breaking here, so that's okay. And if price just wants to start moving upwards from here, I would not, I'm okay with it. But I do still like the idea of eventually picking out these lows before moving to the upside. Looking at the highs, where price is reacting at this point. So we managed to break some structure in here, right? To start breaking some highs. That's always something that you want to pay attention to. And we got, basically price reacted a little bit from this level, which is the previous low in here on the left side, which is sometimes kind of relevant as well. So that was a key level when price went to the upside. It created this new barrier, and now price basically just reacted from it in here on the left. In terms of next structure, we do have this level in here, and in that case, there's maybe a little bit more room to the upside in here as well. So we broke some structure in here, which may indicate that we may want to go higher. Now the question mark is literally, is this enough, or price is going to do something like that? And in here at the highs at this point, there's maybe something else that you can look at as well, which is around this level in here. All right, there's maybe this level, this is still fresh, and if price does want to continue to challenge the lows, it can happen from here. All right, so it can happen from here. Price can actually just literally take these levels in here, pick out those lows, and perhaps react from this level and continue to move to the downside, if that's the idea. If price starts breaking to the upside in here, ignoring a little bit of this level and start moving higher, then maybe this can be the bottom for now, and price can can start moving upwards as well. Eventually you can use this level in here as a level to look now as a support level, kind of supply becomes demand, something like that, like just a swap of structure in here, and can use that level to the upside in here. So that's something to pay attention in here on the dollar index for the beginning of this week. So we'll see on Monday if we kind of resume a little bit more the move to the upside. So when we saw the move on the NFP, right? So again, eventually I'm going to make another video explaining how to trade NFPs, or the PA, the price action that usually we receive during the event, right? Anytime you have a quick spike up, then price just goes into a good level. That's actually a good level to actually trade to the upside, right? So attention to the first reaction, especially if it is just a quick spike up. One thing is if it actually lasts a little bit and then price does this, that's a different story. But if it's just during the moment, like in this first I don't know, 30 seconds of the move, price just goes up and goes down, that usually tends to be more of a indicating the direction, or the beginning of the direction where price may wants to go. Just that now price fake out everything in here, and then price eventually is going to go challenge this high again. But that's specifically for the NFP in here. So as you can see, price start to bounce a little bit or range a little bit around this level. The indices, they did reacted much stronger to the downside. There is a much more momentum on the indices, as we'll see in a bit. On the dollar, not so much, right? Still around here within some kind of range. So yeah, I'm going to pay attention to see how price may react around this level. At the extreme in here, is there anything still left behind in here? Maybe there's something in there that price could use a little bit and push lower, but I'll be more confident in the terms of looking for shorts in here if we had broken these lows. Price respecting that low, then I'm not really looking to trade the extreme. I prefer to see more reaction somewhere in here than just trade that level. That level eventually can be actually broken and price can use it to the upside in here. So yeah, that's the dollar index in here. Now looking at the US indices, right, and starting with the S&P. So this is exactly what we had as well. So we had a big sell-off, as you know, kind of again 1 month ago on the 5th of May, 5th of August, and all of a sudden you had a recovery. And you mentioned that S&P had still at the highs in here a beautiful level to look for, right? So we mentioned that level. We mentioned even when price retraced somewhere back into this level, that even if price wanted to go slightly higher, there were still levels in there that price could react from. And there you go. That's exactly where price reacted in here. It's around that structure, that this level in here that I mentioned. That's where price ended up reacting. The PI in here, it was quite beautiful as price was kind of transitioned from this bullish momentum to this bearish momentum in here. Start breaking lows, as you can see, break another low, start ranging, and all of a sudden we have the turn. So in terms of PA, there was enough time in here to start changing the direction or positioning ourselves to look for shorts. And then on Friday we had this momentum in here. Now there's maybe some reaction that you can expect from here. Okay, this is one of the last levels in there that is still fresh, and then in here price has already taken that low, so you can look a little bit now for this level as well, if price may bounce a little bit from there. But because this is already also break off other lows in here, eventually I think we can start even looking for a potential deep move to the downside, which can lead into at least this demand zone in there. All right, so that will be a little bit more of the level. Now yes, maybe 3 levels in here where you can see price reacting a little bit. One maybe somewhere around this level, somewhere in there, and then final destination, it will be more in there, with even the open possibility of price actually targeting this low and actually resuming the move to the downside after respecting these highs in here, basically creating an interesting double top in there, and eventually can even move more towards this level in there, in this bigger picture. So that's something to consider in here on the S&P. As you can see, there's a much more strength, and yeah, the move to the downside, or the momentum, is much stronger comparing with what the dollar is doing at this point. Yeah, there was a little bit of a spike in here. Basically, that was a Fed member speaking on Friday after the NFP, saying that yes, the time is now to cut rates. So everyone started to react like that. Looking at NASDAQ as well. So NASDAQ didn't even react all the way to the extreme. All right, so S&P came all the way closer to that level. NASDAQ didn't even reacted yet from this level in here. It was actually a little bit more of the zone that I was looking for. I was looking for NASDAQ to fake out slightly these highs in here and get closer to this range in here in our basically with that left shoulder. It didn't really happen. Basically the transition was a little bit quicker in terms of the height. The range happened kind of a bit more on the right side now of the top, but the P8 was there as well. Like we start breaking lows, we start breaking some structure in there. See a little bit of a reaction from that month zone, but then the move was already done basically. And this was another level in there that NASDAQ also missed out. So what we have in here is that basically NASDAQ already reacted or already broke this level at a little bit of a reaction. That's one of the first levels on the S&P that I mentioned that I would like to see price reacting from. Basically this one in there. And NASDAQ is already out of the way, basically getting really closer to this month zone in there, which is also one of the levels that we just mentioned where we want to see S&P going towards to. And then you have these lows, which is going to be quite a key level in here to see if NQ actually eventually manage to break below that. And if you do manage to break below that, it starts opening the door to go much further down. All right, that's something to be aware of, with the potential to properly have a shift in here. And for sure many people or the mass media is going to look at this thinking, okay, we are in a bearish trend on the NQ. In my opinion, kind of we are already, even though this low, yes, this low still reacted quite nicely from this range. So it didn't really open the space that I wanted to see at this point at these lows, but from where we are right now, yes, I'll be surprised if you don't really react at least or reach this level at least during this move down before considering if you go higher or eventually breaks and starts moving lower in here. At the highs, yeah, perhaps maybe one more retest towards this level can be okay. Another retest maybe somewhere around this level in here can also be okay. Push price lower. And again, as I mentioned, there's even that level in there, maybe something somewhere in here as well. So there are a few levels in here on the NQ that you can look for. Dow actually was the one that managed to break new all-time highs before the move down. Again, this is something that we were anticipating. We mentioned when you created this level or this reaction that basically price went all the way to react from the extreme. So there was not really anything left behind in here at this level of structure when price retraced back to it. So anticipating that fake out, it was totally okay. And then you start having also some rejection in here, and you're starting to break some lows, starting to see some weakness, and the seller starting to kick in here. And then there you go, like somewhere in here could have been a good short. And now the continuation, basically you feel this already is zone 3 type of a move that's basically done already. And now we're going to get into this level and you'll see what's going to happen somewhere in here. And if it starts breaking even further down, then you can start getting closer to target around this level, in particular maybe these lows, with the target perhaps going all the way back into there. So that's something to pay attention also on the Dow. Perhaps some reaction from that level, and eventually the continuation. Again, if price does retrace a little bit more to the upside, yeah, maybe somewhere in here, maybe they already have this spike in there, so somewhere even higher perhaps. So you can see for price to go to yeah, some PI like that, pick out, and then look for that continuation setup in there. Yeah, this is a beautiful move in here. Like it's basically this is a zone 3 type of a move until we have the turn to zone 4, and then just continuation, always targeting this level in here. It's a beautiful confirmation trend or trade that you can have in here. This is a video that I'm going to share with you guys in the next few weeks. All right, so looking at DAX, right? DAX also fake out the highs, the all-time highs, and now it's starting to move to the downside again. This is similar one in terms of zone 3 type of a move. This is basically the level that we have all this compression until we start having this weird reversal pattern in there, right? You start breaking lows, then you have one last fake out in there, and then you have the turn, another pattern but continuation, break lows, kind of fake out that level and looking for continuation. Again, you have all this compression here to feel until you eventually get closer to that level in there. Somewhere in here, it's basically the target that you'll be looking for eventually for the turn. That's one of the initial targets, with the potential, of course, to still fill the space much further down. This is a clear setup that we look for in here. So yeah, let DAX now move as well, and you'll see what happens after price eventually gets closer to this level in there. And yes, maybe there's some kind of level in here that price can use and continue to move to the downside. So we'll see what's going to happen as well. But again, continuation in here. And NASDAQ as well, that is a key level in here, because this is one of the main catalysts for that big move on the 5th of August. And then there was a recovery, right? And as you can see, this starts to show weakness around this level, and all of a sudden we have the resume, or kind of the attempt to continue to move or to push lower once again. Now, there's definitely still levels in here at the highs that maybe price wants to go towards to, and now we actually may have left this one as well in here. So this also can still happen in terms of pushing lower. In here, it's true that price actually respected quite nicely this low, so we'll see if we eventually actually manage to break below that level or not. But for now, anticipating a little bit more of a move in here, so downside, which means maybe we have the N pairs or the N index moving upwards in here, can also be a possibility. And eventually this can actually just be the initial kind of clue, showing it the intention in here to actually move lower. It happened quite quickly, it happened with that the event, but that may have been just the first clue. So this is something that we need to be aware of. That's potentially a direction that we want to look for in here on the curve. Then looking just quickly at crypto, we have also the continuation to the downside in here on BTC and Ethereum, and also a little bit on Solana. So we see also these important assets kind of moving to the downside, like following a little bit the indices. And we'll see if we're going to have BTC coming back closer to the 50k. We did manage to break below that level. That can be an important break of structure in here, which eventually can even with BTC to move much further down, maybe closer to this level, around this level in here, or somewhere in there. So that's a possibility, but we'll see what's going to happen around here. That's basically the key level at this point. May have a continuation of price respecting that level and getting closer to that level in there. So that's something to bear in mind in here. Ethereum at least is retesting the low, so it hasn't really managed to break, but as you can see in here on Ethereum as well, basically that was a break to the downside, and price haven't really reached this final level, at least into that, and can even go much further down into that level. So for me personally, this is more of an engulf to downside. This was just a retracement, and price could resume to move down, but we'll see now that you are creating this double bottom. We'll see what's going to happen. It's going to challenge to go higher, or eventually it's going to just slowly push to the downside in here. So that's a possibility as well. And so on as well, I would like it to see continue to move a bit more to the downside. Again, it starts to show some weakness on this, creating this compression in here. So we'll see if that's enough to eventually perhaps react from this level and push higher, or this is just something that price is creating eventually to gain momentum, but to the downside. Sometimes that can happen as well. Yes, you do have some break of structure in here of these lows. So there's a little bit of some break of the structure in there. Price is still reacting from here, but eventually can even target somewhere closer to this level in here on Solana. That's a little bit of crypto, perhaps a little bit more of a continuation to the downside, but you are getting closer to kilos. So we'll see if you don't have a little bit of a bounce before moving even lower. And then you have this Euro index, which in my opinion can be also an important asset to pay attention this week. As you know, anytime you have some ECB press conference, looking at the Euro index can be one of the assets that can give us the bias of what to expect in the market for that week. If you recall, the last time we had ECB, it was around this level, so we talked about that one. We predicted that level as well. Fake out of this double top in there, fake out in there, and then the move to the downside. So that was something that we were anticipating back then. The turn kind of to look for sales on the euro, and that happened. So again, question mark is where we are going to be by Thursday, right? Which is going to be the moment that you have the next ECB in here. We are a little bit in the range. I have to admit, personally, within this range, I think we are a little bit more bearish than bullish. We did manage to break some lows in here, even though now we tested this level, but I'm still open to the possibility of eventually price actually getting a bit closer to this level in there. All right, so eventually I do think that maybe price wants to go somewhere closer to that level, but for now we are literally in the middle, which means that I could see price going up and down. Maybe price can react from here, maybe price can react again from that level. It's slightly different. Like one thing is when you are closer to the extreme and prices start to show indication that is closer to turn. That was basically where we were back in the last ECB, somewhere in July. And now we are a bit more in the middle, and you'll see. Start to break a little bit off this level. Nothing special in here. Price can easily just go up a little bit, same way that it can go down. So I will wait a little bit more, maybe for Wednesday, to see where this ECB and also the euro dollar and other euro pairs are by then, especially after the CPI, to see what to expect for them, or what to predict where the euro pairs want to go. And then you have the Japanese pairs, like the yen pairs, and you have again resume a bit more to the upside. So we have been waiting and anticipating eventually price to get closer to this high and to create some kind of PM around this level to potentially look for more sales somewhere around this structure in here. The price just fake out that level and then start moving lower. This level was really good, all right, where price reacted in here, it was perfect. We start breaking some highs. We literally left this level behind in here, so this low never reacted from that zone. There was literally a gap in there, so great reaction, and then price starts to move higher. This was already literally engulfs to the upside, showing indication that price wants to go higher. All of this is basically compressed in here, and they are looking for price to get closer to this size, and as I mentioned, can even fake out that high and then start maybe creating some PI to go to move to the downside again. In terms of PI in here, in terms of continuation, really good as well. So we have this level, it's another pattern similar to what we had. What was it? I think it was a DAX to downside. Yeah, beautifully. So we have a little bit of range, fake out into this level, go up, retest now this left shoulder in here and push to the upside. So really good move in here on the end index. And yes, maybe you're looking for price to first and foremost maybe get closer to these highs in there, and then you'll see how price may react from around that level. But yeah, in general, maybe expecting a little bit more this yen pairs or the yen. Yeah, the end, to see it going a little bit more to the upside, potentially to retest those highs, which can lead also Nikkei to move to the downside in here. So that's a little bit of what we have on the yen pairs, on the yen index in here. Now looking at the individual currency pairs, starting with the euro dollar. Right, so if you pay attention to the euro dollar at this point, the high reacted from a really good level, right? So again, this is basically, I was already away when this high was created, price made that big move to the upside, and it's perfect on the daily time frame. It's a really good level. As you can see, you have these highs, price never reacted from it, which makes it one of the best levels to look for trades. All right, so in the higher time frame, when you find that price kind of goes down, doesn't really retest to back to the supply level or to the decision point that make that big move to the downside and starts creating one high, then all of a sudden creates even another high. Eventually when price comes back in there, it's a beautiful level, just a beautiful level to look for a reaction. And because it's a higher time frame level, it offers a possibility of becoming a really good trade. One of the first targets always is just to retest this previous structure and somewhere in here, right? Basically just making this move back to this level. That's basically one of the first targets, and price actually made that move, went up, but then now finally continued, and now we are back into this demand zone in here, getting closer to this next level of structure. Now, question mark in here, right? Is this the final level, or there's something else in there? And is this even a level that you want to see price respecting one more time and push lower? Or should you be anticipating eventually the euro dollar to continue to push higher, even to take this high in here, maybe get closer to something else a little bit higher in here, or eventually somewhere closer to this level, right? So that's a little bit of a question just in the bigger picture, the same way that you can ask if this low makes sense where it's reacting right now, and if it is strong enough to potentially make that move upwards, or if price by any chance does want to go first a little bit more to downside before eventually resuming move upwards. Like this is also a question in here. Now this is literally super high time frame, just to put it in perspective. This is basically the last year of action on the euro dollar is just this range, right? So basically what I'm mentioning here, this is literally for a much bigger picture, something that may take a few years to even develop. 1 second, guys. So yeah, taking into consideration this part, looking now a little bit more into the war time frame. So I'm okay with this, with where price reacted in here. It's literally a perfect level. What I mentioned before in terms of the dollar index, that the low during the NFP reacted perfectly from the extreme. On the euro dollars, you can see the high didn't really went all the way to the extreme. Like it just paused a little bit at around this level, which means that maybe there's something in there, or maybe price didn't really need to go to the extreme before, because maybe the extreme was already taken on the way down. That's also a potential situation here. The price basically creates that level, but on the way down there's already a retest and price goes. Maybe there's no need to go all the way there, and then price is looking for the next level. In my opinion, maybe there's still a little bit of a zone in there that price could go towards to, but it didn't, at least just yet. What we also have in here is that we have this break to the downside. So this for me is kind of an engulf down on the euro dollar. So yes, looking for shorts during the NFP, it would make sense, or if price does want to go slightly higher before maybe even filling out the space to the downside, could also be another opportunity to look for. To look for sales. So that's something to bear in mind. I do think that euro dollar may wants to go slightly lower, at least on this scale where we are right now. All right, so again, by Thursday we'll see where we're going to be at, and of course on Wednesday with the CPI, I think euro dollar can still have a little bit of a reaction depending on what the dollar is going to do. But yeah, in my opinion, this is an engulf to the downside. Price didn't really react, almost reacted from that left shoulder, and another reaction here turned higher, and yeah, I think it could resume now the move to the downside in here. Basically reacted from the lower edge. Yeah, the lower edge of that level in here. But similar to dollar index, again, it kind of created a little bit of a range in here, so we'll see. There's still this level that is a little bit fresh, or it's fresh in there. Prices want to go higher, otherwise eventually we can go all the way and take these falls. Yeah, so that's something to bear in mind. Pound dollar opposite to the euro dollar, I don't really like where price is reacting in here. Okay, so it's okay level, but in the bigger picture, looking at this bigger level, I'm not really sure if this is the level that the pound dollar is going to kind of resume the move to the downside and make a big turn. It may be quite interesting because it's a level that was created after the break of this, creating a little bit of this range, and this level has been respected quite a long time in there. So in the bigger picture, yeah, I definitely would prefer to see pound dollar, to continue to move slightly higher. We start breaking a little bit of this level on the daily time frame. We haven't really managed to break below that level, so that's still intact in there. So we'll see how price may react around this level, if it goes higher or not, or it just starts breaking lower. And if that happens, then you start looking perhaps for pound dollar to get closer to something in here, right around 1.288 or something like that. That's a potential level in here on the pound dollar to look for in there. Of course, you do have also this structure in here as well, created with the previous high, that maybe price wants to respect after faking out maybe these falls in there and pushing a little bit. So that's something on the pound dollar, again opposite to the euro dollar. I think there's maybe more room to the upside, at least the level on the left side is not that relevant for me, which means that we can eventually resume to move slightly higher. Now we have enough liquidity with that high, but this perhaps could be just a continuation in here. Yeah, we'll see. And you're going to have a few data releases on the pound as well to see what's going to happen. Euro pound. So euro pound, interesting enough. There you go. So we made out that move to the upside. We start looking for that reversal. It happened, right? So that was a beautiful level. We predicted and anticipated this level. This was a zone that we were actually looking for another long, which never happened. So we predicted that move, go upwards, retest this level, perfect. But in here, this is where I was looking for price to get to this level. That's where I wanted to look for longs in this move, which never happened, right? Price just pausing there, never really got there, and it's now reacting from it, right? And this happens many times, like many times they actually leave this level behind, which eventually is going to be a level where in the future price will eventually goes and reacts from, you know, using all these lows to collect liquidity from. So we'll see if this is enough now for price to move to the upside from here and create this momentum again, or price will respect something in there and perhaps try to challenge and take these lows. In there again, bigger picture, I'm still open to possibility of price going slightly lower, and even this value is one of my favorites. But there it goes. It's going to be interesting to see if the euro pound starts to move higher. Maybe pound dollar can go and move to the downside, or if we're going to have a little bit more of a range for the time being. Even though we have news on the pound and GDP, and then unemployment and then GDP, and then we have ECB on Thursday. So can be an interesting week actually for the euro pound in here. Initially more of whatever the pound is doing, and then on Thursday based on what the euro is going to do. So that's going to be an interesting one. We'll see how price may react from that range in there. Looking at the Aussie as well, like beautiful, right? So Aussie, we had this high in here, kind of a bit in the middle. There was definitely similar fresh levels in here within these highs. Price started to create some weakness in here, as you can see, start breaking some lows, perfect, and eventually fake outs the high, and it goes like confirmation in here. Another break of a low, goes and starts moving again. Another break of a low, goes and continues to move to the downside. So we'll see now how price may react around this next structure in here. That's something to be aware of and to pay attention to. Yeah, this is also kind of a good level in there on the Aussie dollar that it reacted from. So again, in the bigger picture, we have been ranging for quite a while around this level, and that's basically what we have. Like, so basically this was the beginning of this year, moved, and we moved down, up, down, and now kind of we are back at these highs again, being rejected from it, coming all the way down once again, which leads us into the next euro or Aussie pairs as well. So reacted again, we made that big move to the upside, we broke the highs, and then we turned. Like, that was something that we were also looking for the reversals in here on the Aussie, and that happened. Now it paused a little bit in here. You could even go slightly lower, but you are again back into this range, right? The middle. We're back into the middle, just similar to the Aussie dollar. We are back into the middle in here. So we'll see. We'll need a little bit more of confirmation or some price action to see eventually when we're going to have a little bit of a turn in here, and if we're going to target this high or not, some structure in there, just to see if we're going to have something like that eventually to look for some shorts in here. So that was Euro Aussie, Pound Aussie, kind of similar, again moving to the upside. So nice turn in here, so good reaction from that level, start breaking the highs with beautiful Aussie mode at this point in here, and move to the upside again, looking for eventually targeting somewhere around that level, and somewhere in here as well can be quite interesting. Yep, so that's going to be interesting. Again, there's a little bit of a gap in here that can be also a level that this can have some reaction from. Good level in here, continuation to the upside. Yeah, so that's Pound Aussie in here as well. But it shows a little bit more weakness before looking for shorts. Looking at the Aussie yen, and this is again the continuation now of the yen pairs to the downside when you have the yen index moving upwards. So that's basically what we have in here. So price recovered after that big sell off. It recovered a little bit, and it's a good reaction from this level, now moving to the downside, also in alignment with the Aussie dollar as well. So the negative, the bearish Aussie also helping this Aussie yen to move to the downside as a target, somewhere around this level, at least to look for some to look for price to move a bit more towards that direction, at least below that low, which is interesting. And let's see if we're eventually going to challenge even this low in here again or not. Yeah, so that's going to be an interesting one. We're going to have some data straight away in the beginning of this week on the yen pairs. So that's going to be also quite interesting to see. But again, with the NFP, price just continue to push lower in there. Yeah, so that will be a little bit of the levels. And if price does want to go slightly higher, then you can maybe look for new shorts as well. We have also dollar yen, which is basically retesting this above low and anticipating eventually this level to be taken, and potentially can even continue to move lower, even below that level, somewhere towards this level in here. I wouldn't be surprised. The reaction was quite good, so basically reacted from the supply level, and now it resumes to move to the downside in here. So that was quite interesting. Price still retested or respected that low. But in my opinion, you're going to have a continuation here more to the downside. Not even just pausing there, but actually even taking these lows into potential that level in there, which kind of looks good in my opinion. So that's something to bear in mind in here on the dollar yen. The other yen pairs, they're also moving to the downside, not so much as the dollar yen at this point, but also resuming a bit more. So good reaction from this previous level support resistance in here on the euro yen, so it makes total sense. In here, it basically still respects that level. So yeah, we are looking for the euro yen to get a little bit more, or a little bit closer, perhaps to this level in here, and then we'll see what's going to happen. We still haven't really okay, we broke slightly these highs in here, but then we respected with that move. There's still kind of a continuation in here to the downside. So we'll see how price eventually going to react from those lows. Pound yen, similar story, still kind of respecting that level, broke the trend line as well. It's interesting. Now we have a little bit of this level, and then you can also target a bit lower into somewhere in here, or even lower. So that's a little bit of what we look for in here. Upon the end, price may still even respect that level as well in here. So yeah, continuation a little bit more to the downside. Again, pay attention to the yen index and provide a great confluence on what to expect in here on the yen pairs. CAD yen as well, great move, account that level, respected that level in there, and continuation to the downside, which eventually can target again that level in there. Dollar CAD after the big sell-off, right? So we've been looking for the reversals on the CAD pairs. It's also including dollar CAD that starts happening beginning of August, and then we just have the continuation, right? So we already mentioned that this low was already had already broken the previous low, so eventually opens the door to go down. Now we are kind of in the mix of a compression in here. Price basically respected the last demand zone that was still fresh in there, but aside from that, basically everything is basically compressed in that level, which means that we may have opened the door to go further down. Now we may have a retracement first, and I'm curious to see how price may react around this level, if you do have enough strength to even go higher, or if this is the level where this dollar CAD eventually is going to find some weakness and potentially push even lower. So that's something to bear in mind in here on the dollar CAD, how price may react from this level in here. Yeah, so that's something to bear in mind. Again, with the NFP, it kind of spiked down, and it managed to respect the lows, right? So it respected something in here. It's a bit messy how this moves in here, but in reality, price end up still respecting this level of structure. And usually, if you see a move like this, it looks like bullish when price tries to go and break the lows, but it doesn't, just spike down and moves to the upside. That makes it like a bullish move in here for the time being, until eventually price finds something important on the opposite side that can eventually continue to push more to the downside in here. I'm just curious to see how price may react from this level. If you start breaking a little bit, then you can start challenging eventually towards a bit more into here. EuroCAD, we do have this break to downside, so EuroCAD also came all the way, fake out these highs, kind of similar to the euro dollar, like faking out that important level and getting into this structure in there, right? So that's a beautiful level in here on the EuroCAD. It's exactly what we were looking for as well. and now we actually managed to break below this wall. So this was already kind of a break of a wall first, and now we have a confirmation. So let's see what's going to happen in here, and if you have some kind of PA around this level, or even maybe faking out this one more time, maybe we can have a sell opportunity in here to push price perhaps towards more that level in here. All right, so again we have ECB, so that can be a move based on what the euro pairs are going to do by Thursday. So we'll see. We may have first a continuation a little bit more to the upside. Again, spiked in here, basically got close to this demand zone. Maybe this level is still fresh a little bit. Yeah, where it goes slightly higher, and we do have still maybe even a level in there that price can react from above this high. So we can even fake out that high, to be honest. In here, pound card. Yeah, pound card, that's another one. So we kind of fake out slightly that low, still within this structure here. But pound card is another one that we were looking for shorts. It happened, but price now is reacting or coming all the way back in here. It's going to be interesting if we finally fake out this high in here. Alright, so if we finally fake out this high, maybe price can even then challenge this level in there as well. So that's a little bit of more of the moves that we have around this structure. We managed to break new highs in there, and it looks like that price may wants to challenge this level one more time in here, and eventually can even go all the way and fake out this level as well, like that high there on the left. It's another one to pay attention and to be careful with any sell that happens too early, because eventually you can get faked out before maybe the move actually happens in there. So yeah, but it can be close also to a potential turn. Dollar franc Swiss just resumed the move to the downside, right? So it respected that structure, start moving lower, kind of continue to respect those highs in there as well, and they're getting closer to these walls, right? Basically are respecting now the demand zone in here, and below, not below, but after that, basically what we have is that unknown territory there with a big spike back in 2015. So we'll see how the dollar franc Swiss is going to react from here, and what's going to happen with Swiss franc. If we're going to continue to have more weakness in here or not. Yeah, we didn't really manage to break this high, so we will see. I'm still going to wait a little bit more before taking any decisions around this level. It doesn't really look that it's ready to turn, so I'm going to wait for it, and maybe we can even have a fake count of this low before even turning, so something to bear in mind. Gold is at all-time highs. Once again, it broke it, and now it's creating out this range. How this liquidity looks good to eventually be faked out. We start having a slightly the breaks of the lows in here as well, then price respected. That is something to bear in mind. So we start having those breaks of the lows in here as well. So eventually if we do turn, and it looks like that we could have that fake out in here first before trying to aim to go lower. Yeah, so that's something to bear in mind in here. Sorry. All right. Yeah, gold's going to be an interesting one. Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen around this PA. Not many of you are trying to buy it and continue to look for those longs, which could happen, but we'll see. We'll see. I think we are getting closer to potential return in here as well. But you could even gain momentum first before eventually turn. But yeah, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait in here. This level can be interesting as well, so take it somewhere around this level. Then oil is just moving to the downside, right? So oil is literally falling. It's challenging these lows back in November 2023, and yeah, and then you have all the way those lows back in 2022 as well. This is the key zone at this point, where we have basically talking about 62 or 63 level. We are retesting the 75.5. So we'll see how price may react around this walls. We still haven't really we got slightly break of a high in there, but we haven't really managed to break proper highs in here. So yeah, we'll see. It's one to pay attention to. In here, starting to break some lows, price went out of the way, kind of then just resumed the move to downside. So yeah, it's one to pay attention. I'm not going to really kind of just look for long straight away from this level, even though it may work a little bit, just because in terms of macro, starting to have a really low price on oil can, yeah, we'll see what the impact on that. But eventually this could start moving slightly higher as well. Yeah, if you look at actually Brent actually already slightly broke those lows, so we basically have this structure without these lows in here. Crude oil hasn't really managed to break that. Brent already did it, right? So Brent basically just fake out slightly those lows. He's still respecting this level. You still have that low as well in there, all right, from back in 2021. Yeah, it's leading a little bit this move in there. Right? You can always look at the correlation between these two to see which one maybe is giving us the clues first to look for the turn. So that's just something to bear in mind. And yes, I'm going to be interested to see whenever we break above this high. That's a key level to pay attention to. Similar story in here on crude oil. Whatever we finally manage to break some highs in here, it's going to be interesting. So yeah, we'll see what's going to happen around this structure. All right. Yep, we'll see. This can be, yeah, this can lead to a potential long a little bit. Again, this move to downside is quite aggressive. We can maybe fake out that level first. Yeah, basically price respected the bottom in there. And you may have this level in here that is still somehow fresh in there. If data. All of a sudden, all these walls as well can be faked out, definitely. Yeah, I think we could actually start looking underneath these walls. Somewhere there. Yeah. May have a move until there. Just. That's it. That's it for this week. Again, expect a lot of volatility. I think the market is going to provide plenty of opportunities. It's not going to slow down. This is just a moment of acceleration now. September, beginning of September, after summer, usually can read this first week can show a little bit the intention of how the big market players are positioning themselves. And at this point, you are seeing the indices moving to the downside. The dollar is starting to slow down a little bit after the big move to downside in August. So that's going to be interesting. The end pairs as well, I think it's not done yet. I think they can be still a big catalyst that can affect the overall market in there. And yeah, we have commodities, we have gold at all-time highs, we have oil just moving to the downside, we have crypto also continue to move slightly lower. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if this is the beginning and they're going to start creating this bearish momentum. And the indices, I'm curious, and I'll be surprised if eventually we don't get close to those lows. We have CPI, which at this point may not be the biggest catalyst anymore. It's more about the NFP, in my opinion. I think regardless of the data on the CPI, I think the market expectation of how much the Fed is going to cut is not going to change. I think it's going to be around 25 basis points. And yeah, question mark also for the ECB, which is going to be on Thursday, which is going to be quite interesting to see also how big the cut is going to be. Yeah, so that's it. Tomorrow we have market analysis at 7:30, so that's something you can join as well. This is going to be more detailed in terms of looking for opportunities for the next day. Today is more of what to expect for the week indeed. So thank you again. Feel free to subscribe to the channel if you are new, and yeah, join me for tomorrow's sessions as well at 7:30. Bye bye guys, thank you very much. I'll see you next time. Yeah.